Hi, John with eTrailer. If you're looking to flat tow your Jeep Cherokee, check out this option we have here at eTrailer. It's the CURT Direct-Connect baseplate kit, and it's going on our 2020 Jeep Cherokee. Now, if you're new to flat towing and you are interested in flat towing, then of course the base plate is just going to be one of 5 things that you actually need to be able to flat tow. Now this setup right here, this is all hooked up and ready to go. So of course we'll start with the base plate. That's what we installed here. This is going to be the physical connection actually on your Jeep, and that allows you to hook up all these other things to it to be able to flat tow. The next thing you're going to need is some diode wiring, and this is just going to be able to, when you hit the brakes on your RV, the brakes are going to light up on your Jeep, just like the blinkers and the tail lights and everything else. It lets people know what you're doing. It keeps you safe out there on the road. Third thing that you need a supplemental braking system. This is required by law, and it just helps you to come to a complete stop safely. Fourth thing that you need a tow bar. This is going to be the physical connection between your Jeep and your RV. This locks in, keeps you straight down the road. And the last thing you need, safety cables. In the event that something comes loose or something fails here, these safety cables are going to keep your Jeep behind your RV until you get over and safely pulled over. So let's take a closer look at the CURT base plate. Now, first thing I am going to let you know here is that the arms that come with this, now they call this a Blue Ox style arm. Now, if you have a Blue Ox tow bar, that's great. It's going to work for you. If you don't, if you had, say, a Roadmaster or Demco, we have adapters to fit the arms that come with this kit here. They basically all work the same, though. It's nice and quick and easy to disconnect. Get the safety cable out of the way. Pulled that. And these simply pull out, twist, and come out. And that'll give you a nice factory appearance when you're not towing down the road. You know, you say you want to hook back up and get back out on the road. It's just this easy to put it back together again. This is a nice kit. It's a direct connect kit. There's no bar that's going and spanning across the bumper on here. It installs where your factory tow hooks were. And the nice option is you still have these safety chain loops. So in the event that you would need a tow bar or a tow hook or something like that, you still have this space available. As far as installation goes, it's a little involved. You have to pull this front fascia off, the whole bumper and everything. You need some special tools. It's not really complicated. It's just there's things that you need to do. There's a process to it. But other than that, the kit itself, there's no welding, there's no cutting, there's no drilling for the base plate kit. It's pretty straightforward. And if you want to see how we did it, stick around. We'll show you how we did this one. Now, to begin our installation, we're going to be removing this big plastic cover here on the front. It has a number of these plastic fasteners here. You can use either a small screwdriver or a pick. Either one of those. What you do is come in and you lift up the center section. And come up and lift the bottom like that. Sometimes these centers come out. Not a big deal. They'll just go right back in. So I think we have about 14 of these on here, so just work your way around the front, taking these fasteners off. And once you have all of them loose, just go ahead and lift up over the front here, and it'll kind of pop out and up, just like this, and set this off to the side. Now, just on the inside of the headlight here, we're going to have a T30 screw that we're going to take out here. And you have one of these on each side. Now we can turn our attention to the wheel wells. Inside of here, we're going to have 3 8mm bolts that we need to remove. This is the same on both sides. Then you can take a trim panel tool or a screwdriver, a flat screwdriver, and we're going to peel back the inner liner of this fender well. And that's going to expose a 10mm bolt that's up here that we need to get to. So this liner is plastic, just kind of push it out of your way. It was in this orientation, so we had to get it out this way, but this is your 10 millimeter. Now after you're finished with both fender wells, come underneath, and just to the inside of your tire on both sides, you're going to have an aluminum rivet that you need to drill out. Sometimes they come off just like that. It's great if they do. Otherwise, just drill the center out until it begins to spin, and you can take a screwdriver and you'll pop it right off. That worked out good for us. Now, once you've drilled out both rivets, one on the passenger side, one on the driver's side, there's 4 10 millimeter bolts under here that need to be removed. Now, while we're under here, I did want to point out that there's other 10 millimeter bolts here. We're going to leave those alone. If you can kind of see the plastic fascia comes around, and I think it's being pinched by our skid plate right now. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to loosen these. I'm not going to take them off, but I'm going to loosen them. Just enough that that fascia will slide out now. Yeah, that's a lot better. Now we're getting ready to pull the front fascia off, but before we do, get you some painter's tape and just tape up your seams right here. Protect your paint from any scratches just in case these panels want to overlap or do anything while you're taking them off. Okay, so come to the inside of the fender well, back where we had our 10 millimeter bolt that was clamping these together, and you'll feel on the inside a plastic tab. We are going to take a screwdriver, insert the screwdriver in there and kind of twist, and I'm pulling out at the same time. What we're doing is pushing down and releasing this tab and this tab here. So just gently pull out. I'm kind of pulling out at the bottom too, and it loosens it up. Around these headlights, these clips kind of slide in. Now, keep in mind, especially if your Jeep has fog lights, we're going to have a wiring harness behind this bumper, so you don't want to pull too hard. You don't want to yank it off. We're just loosening things up right now. Just work your way around. If you need a trim panel tool anywhere, it's going to be on these corners of these headlights. And we can take a look. You can see this is the wiring harness I was talking about right here. And to remove this, we have a yellow tab. We'll push down on that, pull out. On the red, sometimes they get dirt and stuff in them and they don't want to cooperate too much. Just pull out on the red and it will separate. Looks like that's the only harness on this side. Okay, and we are clear. So no more harnesses. This is the inside. This is what the inside looks like here. You're going to have your one harness, and it's going to power both of your fog lights. So there's only one harness to worry about. Now set this off in a safe location. Now we'll head over to the tow hooks here. On the back side, there's going to be a 30 millimeter bolt. I've got a long extension, a wobble socket. If you have a universal, that'll work too. It's all the way tucked in here. And this is the best way I've found to get up here. And they're not on there too tight. But you'll take this off first. Okay, and then come up to the front. Up here, you're gonna have two 16mm bolts that are holding your tow hook on. You could slide that out. And go ahead and do this on both sides. Once the tow hooks are removed, you can come down to the frame extensions. You're going to have three 15mm bolts. Let's get these. That's going to be the exact same on both sides. Now, both sides, you're going to have a stud with a manufacturing clip. These were just holding this part on while they went down the assembly line. We're not going to reuse these, so don't worry about destroying this clip when you take it off. I'm just using the small screwdriver. Get some needle nose pliers behind it, maybe a trim panel tool, whatever it takes to get these things off. Okay, we'll take these off and go ahead and do this on both sides. Now, when it comes to installing the base plates, they are going to be side specific. So the passenger side like this is going to have the hooks. Your safety chain loops are going to be on the inside. So these are going to go right where the bumper or the frame extensions mounted up. Okay, and the hardware, we're reusing the hardware. So the black bolts that were holding the tow hooks up, we're just using one of them. That's going to go in the same position as it was. And then the 3 bolts that were holding the frame extension, we're going to reuse those as well. And they go back right where they were. So we're going to snug these up in this order. We're going to torque this to the specs in our installation manual first, and then these get torqued to spec. Now this kit is going to include a 1/2-inch bolt, flat washer, and conical tooth washer. This threads into the back side of the base plate that we just installed. So you'll see little teeth on this washer. They go towards the base plate. Then it's going to be the flat washer. I highly recommend using some blue Loctite on this bolt just as a little reassurance. Now this is going to thread into the back side, like I said, of this base plate here. Just insert it where the old tow hook ran through, and we removed that big 30mm bolt or nut on the back side here. Now, installing these base plate safety cables, in this instance on our Jeep, it was actually, the cables were long enough that we went up and we looped around the frame, but it was on the inside of this radiator support, and we were able to loop up and come back down on both sides here and tie it up. We did the same thing on both sides. Now, when you do this at home, you want to make sure that you're not going to hit any air conditioning lines. Make sure it's free from your serpentine belt, moving parts, stuff like that. And if you can't get it up and around the frame up here, it's okay to kind of loop them through and bring it back down here, just as long as it's where you hook up is something strong like the upper frame up here and it's behind the radiator support. Now, as far as installing the base plate, it's pretty much done. If you weren't going to do anything else, you could just go ahead and slap your Jeep back together. If you were looking to flat tow and do this all yourself, now is the time to get your diode wiring done, your braking system, all of that stuff, all the front ends torn apart like this. It just makes it a lot easier to run the wires through, make all your connections, and do everything that you need to do to set this Jeep up to flat tow. If you're wondering how to do, say, diode wiring or a braking system on a Jeep like this, we have videos right here on our website that'll show you how to do it step by step. That's what I'm about to do right now. I'm going to get everything together here. As far as the base plate install goes, we didn't have to do any cutting to this fascia. The only thing we had to cut was for the breakaway switch, and then of course the electrical cable here, and so we kind of had to do that. Of course, that's a different video, but just to let you know, there's very minor cutting involved when you're going to outfit your Jeep and set it up for flat towing. And that was a look at CURT's Direct-Connect base plate kit on our 2020 Jeep Cherokee.